and continues to influence and encourage and inspire me even today. His name is Jim Wackert. He's a great football coach, but more importantly, he was a man whose beliefs and teachings and wisdom went far beyond sports. I was touched by Coach Wacker's greatness. He set a standard that I've been trying to live up to ever since. The intangible work, unselfishness, personal excellence and focus, organization, leadership, those are the same tools that we need to be our best in the real world. One of the most powerful things someone could learn from Jim Wackert was to understand the importance of a positive mental attitude. He always found the good in every situation that he was at. Whether he was on a mountaintop or in a valley, the job that he had, the school that he worked for, the people around him were the very best. And if any of y'all knew Jim Wackert when he was living, you know what I'm talking about. You never saw him that he wasn't on top of the world. And through him, I developed a belief that a proper mental attitude is the key to success. I believe that the most important thing that I can do as a coach, or that a teacher can do for their students, or parents can do for their children, is to help them understand the importance of a proper mental attitude. Let me share some things with you that I've shared with our players over the years about attitude. I've heard it said that in America today, there's over 50,000 different types of schools out there that will teach us how to do anything and everything, from how to trim toenails and fingernails, to how to operate heavy machinery, to how to become a doctor or a lawyer. But there's not a single school in existence today that will teach any of us how to be any better than mediocre, unless we have the right mental attitude. I've also heard it said that our attitude is the most dominant factor in the success of any project that we undertake. In short, our attitude is really more important than our aptitude. There was a study several years ago by Harvard University that revealed the fact that 85% of the reasons for success, accomplishments, and promotions out of 80% because of our technical expertise. My favorite piece on attitude, and I'm sure a bunch of you have read it, but it's like anything that's really good, it's worth repeating, is what Dr. Chuck Swindoll said about attitude. This is what he wrote. He said, "The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It's more important than appearance or giftedness or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home, a team. The remarkable thing is that we have a choice every day regarding the attitude that we embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing that we can do is play on the one string that we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. And so it is with you. We're in charge of our own attitude. You know, if attitude is that important, it's truly that important, then what exactly is it? You ever really thought about it? What exactly is attitude? If you look it up in Webster's dictionary, it says that your attitude is the habits of the mind which one displays. My favorite definitions always came from my players. I'd ask them that same question. And they'd say, "Coach, I believe the attitude is the choices that you make." I believe that player is exactly right. I think the attitude is the choices that you make. Another one would say, "Coach, I believe that your attitude is how you think. I believe he's right too. I think your attitude is how you think. This is how I believe the attitude works. How you think determines the choices that you make. And the choices that you make determine the habits that you develop. And the habits that you develop determine the person that you become. That's why it's so important for us to make sure that our young people understand that they have to guard their minds. Especially in our world today. They have to guard their minds. They've got to guard what they allow to go into their minds. They've got to be selective on what they allow to go into their minds. So those things turn into good things and not bad things. And I think that's something that as coaches we've got a great opportunity to do. Here's some examples of attitudes that we choose each and every day. When you and I got up this morning, we had choices to make, and we're making those choices a mile a minute. I got up this morning as well as when you got up this morning, we could choose to be enthusiastic about the day or to have a sour disposition. We could choose I'm going to be a hard worker today or I'm going to be lazy. One's positive, one's negative. One moves me in the direction of my goals, and one keeps me from getting to my goals. Choose to be committed, or I can just go along with the crowd. I can choose to be persistent in my efforts, or I can choose to quit. I can choose to be disciplined, or I can choose to take the easy way out. I can choose to love, I can choose to hate. See, attitude, so those little yeses and nos that we choose each and every day that determine who we are and what we'll become 5, 10, and 15 years from now. I think that's important to get across to our kids. I think it's really important. The difference between accomplishment and failure is having the right mental attitude, thinking the right thoughts, making the right choices, developing the right habits. Parenting and coaching and teaching is more challenging today than it's ever been. Our young people are in need of strong role models more today than any other time in our history. In the area of moral values, it's no secret the American family has changed. Many parents are divorced. There's an absence of a strong father figure in many homes. What we find in many juvenile courts is that 80% of the court dockets are filled with youngsters who come from divided homes. On top of that, we've got the most powerful methods of media communication in the history of mankind. And it's barraging us every day with powerful negative messages regarding drugs and alcohol and pornography and terrorism and world holocaust and violence and anything else that might sell newspapers or might sell a little bit of airtime. There's a void for many of our young people, and it needs to be filled. And it's important that that void be filled with strong, positive thoughts and not negative thoughts. I'd always tell our coaches that we can be a part of the problem or we can be a part of the solution, depending on what we teach and what we expect and what we demand through our programs. And I believe that our athletic programs and our coaches can have a tremendous impact on our communities and a major impact on the lives of our young people. And it's critical that our young people and our schools, that we find ways to teach Christian attitudes and character traits. And that's where FCA comes in. Man, what a partner for coaches in trying to develop your young people. What a partner. You know, as many of you probably have too, I've sat in coaches' offices and teachers' lounges, and I've heard teachers and coaches say, do we have to do it all? Can we just do what we were trained to do? Just teach the essential elements of our subjects? Do we have to teach them and raise them too? But you know what? The school and the family are about all some of our kids have. And if some families are unable to respond, then who else is going to do it? You know, I believe that American kids are just too precious for us to ignore the realities of our time and to just abandon them to fate. Yes, I guess we've got to do it all if that's what it takes. There's obviously two types of education. One teaches us how to make a living, and the other one teaches us how to live. And through our athletic programs, I think we can teach many lessons of life that can make a difference in a kid's life. But it's not easy. It's a battle. And it's a battle for the mind. And it's important that we teach our kids to guard their minds. Today, that's a constant battle, I think, for all of us. It takes a strong person to fight that fight. And you can't fight that fight without the strength of Jesus Christ in your life. In Romans 12:2, God's word tells us, be ye not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, that's a daily struggle for all of us, isn't it? It reminds me of a story that I read about a man named Jay Rathman. Rathman was hunting deer in the Tahoma wildlife area in Northern California. And he climbed up to a ledge on a slope of a rocky gorge.